Right now, Wisconsinites are voting to choose two candidates to compete in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. This race will likely be one of the most expensive races in state history. We have team coverage tonight on the primary races, but let's start with NBC 15's Elizabeth Wattis. She is right outside the Wisconsin Supreme Court chambers. Elizabeth.
Yeah, hey, Maria, this race here will help decide if Wisconsin Supreme Court stays conservative leaning or if it will flip liberal. So right now there's a 4-3 majority conservative leaning on this court, but that one seat the four candidates are all vying for is currently held by a retiring conservative judge. So let's meet the candidates here. The four candidates, two of them are liberal to conservative, with Dane County Judge Everett Mitchell and Milwaukee County Judge Janet Protasiewicz leaning left, and the two right-leaning, Waukesha County Judge Jennifer Dorow and former Supreme Court Justice Dan Kelly. Now, the top two candidates here with the most votes, regardless of their political ideologies, will move forward to that general election. Again, that general election is set for April 4th. For now, live right outside the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Elizabeth Wattis, NBC 15 News.